Hi everyone and welcome to Bad Work Stories Made Good. My name is Karina Rubik and together with my co-host Emma Matthews, we'll be doing exactly that. In each episode, we're going to take a bad work story from our client work, the media, or even your own bad work story and get some good out of it. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Hi Emma, what's our bad work story to make good this week?
Well, Karina, we're going to talk about how to finish the year with energy and free attention so that we can celebrate and enjoy the things and people that are dear to us. This is actually an issue that I'm working with a client of mine at the moment. And in previous years, she's worked herself to the bone right up to the last day of work and has gone into the holidays exhausted and then got sick and basically felt terrible for the whole holiday. Definitely not a recipe for festive cheer.
Not at all. And man, I really resonate with that in my past, reaching the end of the year feeling absolutely fried. Right? And I can remember a particular time actually when I was living in Australia this time, remembering when a friend said, hey, why don't we fly somewhere, for the holiday break? And I literally could not bring myself to even think of going to the airport, let alone spending more time on a flight. I was so burnt out. So
Yeah.
so I learned that if we arrive at the end of the year feeling like that, something is definitely not right.
No.
And holidays are so important. So this is a great question at this time. So the timing is perfect because as of this week, of course, this week is Thanksgiving. And and after this, of course, we're in the countdown to celebrating our own faith-based traditions and holiday season and all the additional stress layers that come with that, with family and gift giving and food preparation and travel and all those things that we add to our plate as well as completing work.
Yeah, no, and I've also in the past too experienced, that final commute when I was in the corporate world of the year. I live on a beautiful island, and I'd be on my ferry. It should be a delight to be crossing from the city and away from work into my island paradise and my family. But I've been so exhausted and worn out that I wanted to sort of just really be myself. Be quiet, be reflective, and really so that I could regain some energy before I stepped into the family circus that goes on. And, I'd love to end the year, really, reflect with ending the year, not being in this state, ready to enjoy celebration, and rather than feeling like it's another major project to complete the year. So, how do we make this bad work story good?
Good. Well, absolutely. Well, there is hope there is light at the end of the tunnel. So at the end of the year, so they say.
I hope so. Yeah. Show me the light. Show me the light.
Show me the light. Yeah, absolutely. Well, first thing that comes to mind for me is, which has been my learning, which is the importance of rest and recovery. And it seems to be the hard piece is making that, or harder piece for some, not for everyone, is making that a daily practice, right? So we're not exclusively putting that off to, well, I'll take a break when we have a public holiday or, when there's a religious holiday. And I've learned this the hard way, as in your example, working last minute, getting sick and really feeling guilty about not taking the time to work on myself, right? To take care of myself. So I think that big change for me was during pandemic time when, taking breaks was a vital strategy to helping me look after my mental well-being. And of course, for those of you who've been following us, if you've had a listen to our Menopause Matters episode, that was a big thing about helping me cope with my menopause symptoms. And I think the corporate world, we as in the corporate world have been really slow to catch on or to really accept this as being legit. That if we look at high performance sports, recovery is just part of the business. It's like rest and recovery. It's built into people's schedule. It's as important, if not as important. And as we get more into, looking after our own bodies. We all know that, recovery days when you're working out, whether you're doing yoga
Yeah.
sessions or strength work, recovery sessions are as equally important. So bringing those words and that acceptance into our vocab, into our lifestyles is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And, yesterday with my client, I was talking about, the really intense moments with her work when, they're in meetings and there's like some big issue that they're dealing with. And, you know, everyone is stuck really. And I talked about, well, why don't you take a break? And yet she feels guilty. I said, well, did you look around the room? How was everybody else? And she said, well, everyone's
Mm.
pretty much the same in the same state.
Everyone's
So
shattered.
I know. So I'm like going,
Everyone's
okay,
freaked out.
that's highly productive, right? Well, not really. So how can we reframe this? So I said, well, if you called time out and said, let's take a break, you would be not just caring for yourself, but you'd be caring for them, for the team around you.
Mm.
You'd also be caring and for the performance, the work you are actually doing. If you're in a state of complete exhaustion, you are not giving your best. So think about that as well.
Mm. And I think, that permission that a leader gives the rest of the
Mm,
team when you do that, that's a real vulnerable call. That's
yeah,
courageous and vulnerable to say,
yeah,
I'm not coping. And the thing is, like, it's not the expectation that we have to cope. That's the killer, right? It's like this, what is the fair expectation here? And
yeah,
how do we change that up in our minds, like give ourselves the permission to have a perspective on that, right?
yeah.
And I think I've heard you say a great saying about this, Emma. Can you
Yeah,
remember what that
yeah.
is?
Well, I always say, it's the end of the calendar year. It's
Yes,
not the
that's
end of the
end
world,
of the world.
people.
Yeah, and I was talking over a little bit in there. So what Emma said was, it's the end of the calendar year and not the end of the world.
Yeah,
And I think that piece, it's like we're going to have our to-do list tomorrow. In January, there's going to be new stuff come on your email box. There's more, 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 more. So actually giving ourselves that permission to just go stop.
mm,
Mm.
exactly,
And I
exactly.
think another thing that comes to mind is giving ourselves the opportunity to complete what we can. So
Yep,
completion is really, really, well, you and I know this,
yep,
completion with teams, like completing what we know and acknowledging what we know. And something that is a favorite tool of mine is, I'm
yeah,
going to talk about it for just a moment,
yeah,
is Goober. And
yeah.
anyone follows some of the writing I've done, the good, ugly, bad, and awesome is a
Mm,
favorite. And this is a great piece you can do with your team, to actually have, and maybe we should put a little link, Emma, in the show notes so people could
good idea.
download this for their team.
Yes.
It's a fantastic completion and acknowledgement and celebration piece that
Yeah,
brings things together. And literally what you do as a team is you reflect on what's all the good stuff we've done, in the year or the last 6 months. You choose your time frame. What's all the ugly, stuff that's gone on? See, again, I'm choosing not to swear. And what's all the bad stuff, and what's the awesome stuff,
mm,
amazing stuff that's gone on that you can really, really celebrate. And this, has a really good, feel good piece for the team. It brings
mm,
things together, allows you to make plans to complete stuff that might be the bad or unfinished in things. It gives you permission to see all the bad stuff that's going on, and that you can look at it and go, how do we want to eliminate that for next year? And it's just really good for a good dopamine in your body, good energy release, and just a really good feel good piece at the end of
totally.
the year, isn't it? And you can do this
Good
as an
wrap up.
individual. Yeah, like,
Yep.
if you're working, you haven't got a team, this is a great self-reflection tool that, both Emma and I use in our coaching as well. And, yeah, anything you'd like to add to the Goober chat
Yeah, I
here.
mean, so it's a really nice wrap up. You do basically,
Yeah.
and we were talking about attention earlier, it helps you to really just free up attention, get it out, download it. So yeah, I love it as a tool too. Mm.
And I think on a personal note too, you can also add in, all the other stuff that you've done. Like walking the dog, or exercise, or
Mm.
a new, whatever you've done with your nutrition, or it just allows that whole of life, perspective as well. And will set you up for some good stuff as you go into the actual holiday period and Christmas, which I think we're going to do another episode, aren't we,
We
Emma? We're going to
certainly
do
are.
part
Yeah.
2 of holidays.
Yeah.
So we'll drop that in a couple of weeks, just prior to actual holiday time. So
Mm.
that will have some good stuff in it too. So I think we've got anything else you'd like to add there? Oh, Emma, I want to
Yeah.
ask, like, your client, what did you
Yeah,
do?
yeah. So we talked about the team celebration that they're having next week, and how they are going to make it about play. So rather than
Nice.
go to a restaurant and spend copious amounts of money and drink copious amounts of alcohol, not that we recommend that at all, um, they're going to have a barbecue and
Oh,
play
nice.
games. Yeah, they're going to get outside. And obviously that's easier for us right here in the southern hemisphere where we've got summer. Well, it's trying to break through the rain, but get it. And another thought we had was getting to know each other beyond the workplace, and doing it in a relaxed connection way, and sharing each other's passions. It's an exercise we also use in terms of getting to know each other more beyond just what we do together in the workplace. So share what you're going to do over the holidays, and what you really love to do when you are away from work. So yeah.
That sounds nice. It sounds a very values based,
Mm,
real, authentic, way of coming together to celebrate.
yeah.
And potentially your client could also throw a goober in there,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and do that, and then go.
Next session, I've already
Yeah,
added that to my list.
yeah, fantastic. And for those of us sitting in Europe, as the cold and dark and rain descends on us, all of that, I'm sure, sounds amazing. And of course, so for me, what I'm taking away from here is, the celebration, the completion where we can, the fair play of values based expectation. People, it's the season to be generous and kind, and please start
Mm,
with yourself. We do not need to be perfect. What we do need to do is, be true to our values,
yeah.
and accept. As I love that saying. It's not the end of it's the end of the calendar year, not the end of the world. Be
Mhm.
present in the now, right? And
Yeah.
and the now is getting ready for and that piece that you're enjoying right now. So, and we'll expand in part 2.
So
So,
yeah.
a couple of
So
options
yes.
there to try out. Yeah.
Yeah, so next time, yeah, we'll enjoy the run up to the end of year, and thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bad Work Stories Made Good with Emma and Karina. We hope you enjoyed this episode and that the perspectives we had shared stimulate your thinking and are a catalyst for your own reflections and actions. If you have a bad work story you would like to share, get in touch at help@badworkstoriesmadegood.com. And if you enjoyed or have some feedback, please leave a review. We appreciate it. Till next time, may all your bad work stories be made good.